Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Tucket's Gold by Gary Paulsen, narrated by John Randolph Jones.
Chapter 1. If there was one thing Francis Tucket knew with certainty, it was that death, brutal death, was close to taking them. Dawn was coming, and here he was, a 15-year-old boy in charge of 2 children, walking across a sun-beaten, airless plain that seemed to be endless. Francis, Lottie, and Billy had no food or water, or any immediate hope of getting any. And at any moment a dozen or 2 of the dirt-meanest men Francis had ever seen in a world full of mean men could come riding up on them, and he didn't finish the thought. There was no need. Besides, in surviving Indian fights, blizzards, gun battles, and thieves, he had learned the primary rule about danger. It would come if it would come. You could try to be ready for it, you could plan on it, you could even expect it, but it would come when it wanted to come. Lottie and Billy understood this rule, too. He had found them sitting in a wagon on the prairie all alone. Their father had died of cholera, and their wagon train had abandoned the family, afraid of disease. Lottie had been 9 then, Billy 6. Francis hadn't thought he and the children would stay together long. After all, he had to keep searching for his own family. He'd been separated from them over a year before, when Pawnees had kidnapped him from the wagon train on the Oregon Trail. But Francis and Lottie and Billy, well, they were used to each other. They stuck together. Unlike Francis and Jason Grimes, the one-armed mountain man. Jason Grimes had rescued Francis from the Pawnees and taught him how to survive in the West on his own. Then they'd parted ways. Until last night. Last night when Grimes had helped them to escape from the Comancheros. The Comancheros were an outlaw band, ruthless, terrifying, inhumanly tough. To escape, Grimes had had to take the pack horses Francis and Lottie and Billy had been riding and lead them off empty, hoping the Comancheros would follow his tracks westward while the 3 children headed north on foot in the dark of night. It was a decent plan. It was their only plan, and it seemed to be working. As Francis and the 2 children had moved north in the dark, they had seen the Comancheros ride past them after Mr. Grimes, tracking the horses. The Comancheros had missed the footprints of the children, partly because it was hard to see them, and partly because Francis made Lottie and Billy walk in each other's footprints. He came last, brushing out the trail with a piece of mesquite behind him. But luck was the major factor in the plan. If the Comancheros caught Grimes, or even got within sight of him, they'd know that Francis and the children weren't with him. They'd turn and come back for the children. Children meant real money, because they could be sold or traded into slavery. Francis knew that brushing out the tracks would only work in the pitch dark of night. In daylight, the brush marks themselves would be easy to follow. "I'm tired." Billy stopped suddenly. "I think we've gone far enough." Francis frowned. When Francis had first met Billy, the boy wouldn't say a word. And now he'd gone from never talking at all to complaining. "If they catch us—" Lottie slapped Billy's head so hard Francis thought he heard the boy's brains rattle. "They'll skin you. They'll make a tobacco pouch out of you and let the coyotes have the rest. Now keep walking. If we don't keep moving, they'll be on us like dogs, won't they, Francis? On us just like dogs." Lottie loved to talk, would talk all the time if she had the chance, seemed to have been talking since Francis had found her in that wagon. Lottie would explain every little detail of every little part of every little thing she was talking about, so that not a single aspect of it was missed, and she sometimes drove Francis over the edge. Now, as Billy started moving again, Francis picked up the pace, pushed them as hard as they could stand it, and then harder, and Lottie didn't have breath left to speak.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.